Does that person like me? Does this outfit look okay? Am I sweating? Where should I sit? Should I even go in there right now? I'm not that hungry. I can just wait. I don't know anybody in there right now, so I don't want to sit by myself. I went into my 20s with so much anxiety and insecurity that came from just a feeling of being unworthy. Everything on the outside looked like I should be confident and sure of myself, but I wasn't. I'm going to tell you today about the mindset shifts that happened that made me go into my 30s in just a completely different energy. Hi, I am A Rose. I turned 30 this year and I feel more grounded, confident, and at peace than I ever have before. And I was thinking about the lessons. I've been thinking for the past few months about the lessons, the transformations that have happened that helped me go into my 30s with such a better outlook on life than in my 20s. And I want to share these lessons with you in case you're in your 20s or maybe you're still healing from your 20s, and these might help you find more peace and grounding and joy in life. The golden rule is also about connection, not just morality. And let me tell you what I'm talking about. So the golden rule is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And a lot of times I think we think about that in terms of don't hit somebody if you don't want to be hit. Don't do something wrong or mean to somebody if you don't want them to do that to you. However, I learned it can actually mean so much more. It can actually mean if you want to be invited to a dinner, plan a dinner and invite somebody. If you want someone to text you, text them. If you want somebody to be a friend to you, be a friend to them. Don't sit and wait for them to come to you. Go to them. So when I was in my 20s, I would be really insecure about friends I had just made going out and doing things without me. I think, that's probably not uncommon to feel that deep insecurity, that unworthiness, that someone's going out and doing things without you. And it makes you feel like, oh, well, they didn't invite me. They don't care. But I realized there was never one time that I actually planned something and invited them. If I wanted to spend time with them, if I wanted to go out with them, I needed to plan something and invite them, not just sit and wait for them to do that for me. I think the shift of this happened after college. I think it helped when I became an aunt and my nieces were going through similar social issues where they're like, no one's talking to me. And I had to tell them, like, girl, go talk to them. Did you go talk to them? No? Well, then go talk to them. And it made me realize how much I just hadn't lived that principle myself in my younger years. I definitely do now. If I see a mama I want to talk to at a play date or even at the park, if I want her to come talk to me, I go talk to her. If I want to schedule a play date, I don't think, oh, why haven't they texted me and asked me to go on a play date? No, I text them and ask them, hey, my house, what day this week works? We don't need to wait for others to reach out to connect before we reach out. And your action step, so each of these principles are going to come with an easy action step. Your action step with this one is, if there's somebody you want to reach out right now, text them and say, hey, how are you doing? Or if you have felt before, like, people don't invite me out to dinners or to events or to play dates or wherever you're at in life, if you're not feeling included, plan something and invite them. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Forgiveness doesn't require an apology, and it also doesn't require that you minimize the event. Forgiveness is all about deep understanding. I went into my 20s harboring some unforgiveness in my heart towards my dad. I aged out of foster care, and I started to develop a relationship again with my dad. And one part of that relationship was I really, really wanted him to apologize. I wanted him to say, hey, sorry for all this stuff, that led up to you being in foster care. I'm sorry for how I parented in all of these different ways. And I remember having so many different fights with him because I would bring up pain points from the past in a hope that he would apologize, and all he did was justify. And it wasn't until my later 20s when I took care of him through a cancer diagnosis and he passed away that I understood really what it looked like to forgive him. I have deeply, deeply forgiven him. And it's because I have looked at the full picture. I have seen his full life and realized, me too. If I was in his situation, I would have done the same thing. I would have made the same mistakes. If I knew what he knew, if I came from the background that he came from, if I had the trauma and triggers that he had, all of the things shaped up to the man he was. And I had such a deep understanding about that it immediately led to forgiveness. So forgiveness is all about understanding and empathy. If you can really understand why the person did what they did, put yourself in their shoes and know that you too would do what they did, it's easier to forgive them. And I think if I had forgiven my dad, I might have had more peace about myself and my own childhood, and maybe had a higher level of confidence in my interactions, because I wouldn't have felt like I came from a place that needed to be justified. I would have felt like, this one also I don't know how much it would have affected me on the outside, but I know on the inside I needed to make peace and forgive and have a good relationship with him. He had so much to offer, and my relationship with him could have been a lot better if I had forgiven him. So your action step is, if there is anyone that you haven't forgiven, take a little bit of time to learn some more about them. Learn about their background, learn about what has happened to them. Or if you already know, then put yourself in their shoes. Imagine as much as you can going through what they did, and just deeply, deeply know and remind yourself that you too would act the way they did if you had the exact same experiences that they did. You can never praise yourself too much. And this is something I did not know in my 20s, or starting my 20s. I didn't realize that I could give myself the praise that I was seeking. I did so much for external validation. I think even the college I went to, getting into college, how good I did in school, all of it was for external praise. Good job. You're so smart. You're going to do so well. School counselors being like, you got into Vanderbilt? Oh, I'm so proud of you. I ate it up. I needed the external praise. But here's the problem about external praise. A lot of the work comes way before the results, where anyone else will know about the work. A lot of the actions that are hard come in the beginning when no one knows to praise you. No one's praising you. Also, when you get out into college and on your own, you are less likely to get that praise just in general. As you get older and grow into adulthood, you don't get the same level of praise you do in childhood. And you have to learn to give that to yourself. I don't think I ever once said to myself, until maybe, really it's been the last year, that I've said to myself, I'm so proud of you. Good job. I do one little small task that I've been meaning to do. Good job. Good job loading the dishwasher. Good job. And I don't know why I didn't know about this sooner. If you are desiring someone else to notice what you're doing, if you're desiring praise, give that praise to yourself. If you find yourself thinking, man, I wish somebody would notice how good I look today, take a moment and say to yourself, you look wonderful today. So that is your action step. Your action step is to find something right now to praise yourself for. Hey, I'm proud of you for watching a video about how to have a better mindset. Hey, I'm proud of you for all the new things you learn. Anything like that. Or, whatever is true to your heart right now, whatever you need someone else to notice that in yourself and tell yourself how proud of you are. I didn't know you can sit alone and not be unworthy. I didn't know how absolutely acceptable and fine it was to sit alone in my 20s. I actually didn't know that in high school either. I was deeply stressed and insecure about lunchtimes or any time when I needed to figure out where to sit. I mean, there was periods where I had close friendships and I didn't have that stress, but if there was ever a day that those friends weren't there, or when I moved schools twice in high school. So when I was getting established and making friends but had more shallow connections, I had so much anxiety about where to sit. Looking back now, it's like I could have sat anywhere. I literally in high school chose to sit in the bathroom stall to eat one day as opposed to just sitting comfortably by myself. If I was sitting by myself, I had this intense anxiety that I would be judged as unworthy, that I was showing that I didn't have connections or couldn't make friends because I was sitting by myself. But what I learned is I never judged anybody for sitting by themselves. I admired the people who looked like they walked in and sat by themselves with intentionality and on purpose. I admired people who could walk alone. I didn't need to walk with anybody. I could walk alone. I could go where I needed to go and where I desired to go without someone else having to be beside me. I could sit alone. If I wanted to eat at a certain time with no friends, I could sit alone. And I could also sit alone and not be on my computer pretending to work or my phone. I can just sit alone and enjoy a meal and soak in an environment. It does not make me unworthy to sit alone. And that is something I did not know in my 20s, that it would have saved me a lot of anxiety around, especially eating or walking or classes. It would have saved me so much anxiety if I didn't go into those rooms worried about where I would sit and who I would sit by. So your action step is find a place to intentionally sit alone. Maybe start somewhere that is easy, like a coffee shop or somewhere a lot of other people are sitting alone. But the key is you can't do it thinking, oh my goodness, is it okay? Or whatever anxious thought you have. You have to purposely sit alone in confidence and trust that you belong exactly where you are. This ties into my last point. It's not about what you do, it's about the energy that you do it in. So, you could sit alone and be in the energy of, is anybody noticing that I'm sitting alone? Am I okay to be here? No one wanted to sit with me. Okay, let's just eat. Let's get on my computer. That is totally different than that confident energy of, I belong here. I'm enjoying this delicious food. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be right now, and I don't need anyone else to prove that I am worthy by sitting by me. I am worthy in and of myself. It really is the energy that you bring in anything that you do. So the same action can feel good or bad depending on the energy you bring into it. And other people can feel it. They might not consciously know right away, but they can feel it. If you don't know this yet, people can feel your energy. And the best proof of this is to go to a child who are a lot more vocal. If you come into that room, like I have 2 children. If I am in a bad mood, even if I'm not giving external cues that I feel bad inside, my children still start acting differently. They start getting upset because they feel my energy. Have you ever had a day where you were just feeling yourself. You were feeling great energy. You were happy, excited, and confident. And people you didn't even know knew you, talked to you. People were interacting with you so much more. You felt on top of the world. You started here and it just kept getting better because you had this reinforcement. That is how much people can feel your energy. And so if you're going into the energy of walking around stressed about people looking at you, or not being worthy, whatever that looks like for you, whatever your insecurity is, if you bring that energy around with you, people will interact with you different and the world will seem different. The energy you bring into a situation is so key. I can remember in my 20s, especially early 20s, bringing that energy of insecurity, bringing that into my classes deciding where to sit, bringing that into even my walks across campus. I was so stressed about, do I make eye contact? Do I not? Do I just keep my head down? But if I keep my head down, am I seeming rude? And if I had been in a better energy, when I was in a better energy, I would just look and smile, and they would smile back, and it would be a great interaction where I'd be like, wait, hey, that person seems like they like me. Not like as in romantic, but just like as in like we had a good human interaction. If I could go back to 20, I would intentionally start every day getting my energy right. I would start by positive affirmations. Affirmations are great for getting your energy in a good spot. I would tell myself how worthy I was. I am worthy. I have what it takes to succeed. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Any of those kind of affirmations that speak to you, you can use. I also would ground myself in gratitude. Just taking a moment, for me, especially in nature, just to soak up what's around me. I'm thankful for my chickens that you've probably heard the whole video. I'm thankful for this peaceful morning, the birds. And you don't even have to name exactly what you're thankful for. You just have to feel that gratitude. I feel it in my heart. I just feel this positive radiating energy when I bring myself to gratitude. And that changes my energy completely. If I walk around the day in gratitude, it is a day worth being grateful for. So that's your action step, is I'd say go step outside into nature and ground yourself in gratitude and in the beauty of the world and in the beauty of yourself. The next thing I had to learn is that cool is an illusion. There is no such thing as something that is inherently cool. And I tell you how I know is because something that I could think is uncool, if done by the right person, becomes cool. Right, so I grew up on we moved around quite a bit, but I spent a lot of my childhood on a farm in the middle of the Ozark Mountains. Very, very rural, very isolated. When I went especially to college, where most of the people I knew came from larger cities and had a completely different background than me, I felt that it was really uncool where I came from. I felt kind of embarrassed about it. There was a point where I didn't really talk about my background. And later on, the homestead movement right now is all the rage. So many people are intentionally coming back to a rural life. It could be considered a cool way to live. I feel like I have a cool life. Cool is an illusion because what makes something cool is just how much somebody likes it. So the same thing could be either uncool or cool depending on who likes it. Why not you? Why not you be the one who decides what's cool and uncool? I remember in my 20s, the Adidas hard shell shoes were cool, and I felt really insecure about my non-Adidas shoes, as if anybody was looking. And I remember finally getting those Adidas shoes and wearing them, and they did not feel any cooler than my other shoes, because it was never about the shoes. It was about how I felt about myself. It was about how I felt that I wasn't cool. And I could not have wore the right clothes enough. I couldn't have gotten the right shoes to make me feel cool, because things aren't either cool or uncool. They're cool based on the energy and the confidence of the person who decided that they are cool or they're worthy and they're good. Wear the clothes that feel good on you. Wear the shoes that feel good on you. Live the life that feels good on you, because the best way for something to be cool is if you're confidently embracing it and you believe in it. So your action step is to let go of something that you've wanted because it is cool. And maybe to fully embrace something, like put on something that you don't necessarily think is cool, that everybody else isn't wearing, that you love, and wear it. But catch is, you got to do it in the right energy. You have to really feel how much you love it and how much you think it is worthy and cool. You can't go wear it and then feel uncomfortable, because that defeats the purpose. I promise, whatever it is that you might think about you isn't cool, if the right person was doing it, it would be. Let yourself be the right person. I believed in labels in my 20s. I believed I was a smart kid. I believed I was good at math. I believed I was not good at keeping a clean space. I believed in fixed identity. And when I went to college, both my good identities and my bad identities got in my way. So my good identity of, oh, I'm smart, got in my way, because when I started to struggle, I didn't realize that it's not about being smart or not, it's about the skills. So our labels, our identity, they're just skills in disguise. They're not fixed. They're not something you either are or are not. They're just the skills you have. And if I had known that, I would have realized that when I went to college and I was struggling, it wasn't because I was not a smart person anymore. It was because I wasn't studying the way I needed to. I would have maybe continued on with my math major when the math classes started to get harder, because I just thought, oh, I'm someone who's good at math. I'm someone math makes sense to. And when it started to not make sense, I didn't do the work to develop the skills to make it make sense. I just said, okay, never mind. I guess I'm not a math person. On the flip side of that, I know I didn't do a very good job keeping my spaces clean. And I was just like, well, I'm just not somebody who's super clean. But I didn't have the skills of understanding when to put things back after you use them, how it looked to quickly tidy, and how it impacted spaces to quickly tidy. So labels held me back a lot, and if I had known that they were just skills I needed to develop, when I found myself thinking, oh, I'm just not good at this, I would be like, wait, no. This isn't inherent. This isn't about me being good or bad at it. I just don't have the skills yet. Let me develop those skills. So if there's something you think you're not good at, or something you think you're inherently just amazing at, challenge that and think about what skills make you really good at it. So if you're excelling in school, appreciate the skills that you have that are actually helping you excel. Maybe you're really good at focusing in class. Maybe you really pay attention. Maybe you study well. And remember that when things get hard, all it means is that you need to develop a new skill, that the skills you had before are no longer helping you. Your action step is, next time you start to label yourself as, oh, I'm social, I'm not social, I'm confident, I'm not confident, I'm whatever it is, stop and think, okay, this is not who I am. This is the skills I have right now. Right now I have the skills to make small talk. So it makes me feel like I'm confident because I interact a lot with people. You know, I'm not inherently, or vice versa. If you're not confident, it's like, okay, maybe I just need this to develop skills to interact better socially. Let me watch a YouTube video about that. I'm not going to just shut down and believe, okay, I don't have what it takes. My 20-year-old self definitely needed to know that health matters so much more than skinniness, how small I was. I absolutely thought that everything would be better if I was just a little skinnier. I struggled with many eating disorders in my teens and early 20s, and I would starve myself and binge and purge, and it was not healthy at all on me. But I didn't care about my health. I thought health was being skinny. I thought skinny was just the goal no matter what. That is what I needed to be. Eat less, be skinny. It was never about, well, eat better foods and let's do this to be healthy and to have energy and show up in our lives and enjoy life. It was all about, let me shrink small enough to be beautiful, to be worthy. If I can be small enough, I can be worthy. And I'm probably about the largest I've ever been while not pregnant. I have a 6-month-old, and I lost a tiny bit of weight right after I had him, but I've pretty much plateaued. I feel so much more beautiful than I did at 20. It has nothing to do with the weight. It has all to do with the health and care I'm doing with my body. I really focus on eating healthier foods. I focus on hydration and giving my body what it needs and exercising it in order to be strong and to keep up with my children and to have energy. But it's not all about shrinking, because shrinking and being smaller is not the end goal. So please, if you're struggling to lose weight, if it's always your goal to lose weight, change that. Change that to having a goal of nourishing your body. This body is taking you through a beautiful life, and it's the key to how you experience life. So nurture it and give it healthy foods. And don't deprive it of some pleasure too. It's okay. It's okay to have balance in all of the areas. So your action step would be making decisions today around food that doesn't have to do with how many calories it has or what size you'll be if you eat it or you'll think you'll be. It has to do with how it will nurture your body. Also, I'm keep giving action steps. I don't want you to do every action step, and I don't think you'll need to. You're probably going to resonate with some points and maybe not so much with others. And if you, at the end of this video, do one action step, that is plenty. I thought love was all about approval and being accepted. I didn't realize how much it's about deeply caring about someone's well-being, especially from my side. I had a selfish obsession with somebody loving me and giving me approval and saying I was valuable. I didn't realize that actually love and a connection had to do with what I was willing to do for that other person, what I do for them. So romantic interests I had in my early 20s, I would spend so much time obsessing over whether or not they thought about me, valued me, wanted me. And I didn't think about how can I provide this person value or care. And even in friendships, a lot of times I had a focus on, do they approve of me? Do they like me? How am I showing up to them in terms of how they will view me? Instead of how am I showing up in providing them care and providing them value and giving them a better life. Becoming a parent really taught me this. It taught me that love and deep love for my children has to do with all of the care actions. You know, how I show love to my children is taking care of them and making sure their well-being is provided for. How I provide value to my husband is the same. It's how I'm showing up for him, how I'm giving him care and making him feel loved. You know, with my children, I don't worry about whether they approve of me. I have this deep knowing that they do. I have a deep knowing that of course they love me. Of course I'm valuable to them, and I only worry about how I show up to them. And I think you can really take that into a lot of relationships, not just parent-child, friendships, romantic interests. You letting go of the fear or the question of whether or not they like you, whether or not they approve of you, frees yourself up. There's my ponies. It frees yourself up to act in a way that cares for them. Act in a way that is focused on how you make them feel instead of how they feel about you. And that is the biggest thing to take away from this idea is if you want connection, if you want friendship or romantic love, focusing on how you make them feel is so much more important and will help you develop a much better relationship than focusing on how they feel about you. So if there is a person in your life where you're bringing the energy and the mindset to the relationship of, oh, what do they think of me? Do they approve of me? Actively focus on what value can I provide to them? Can I just be attentive? Can I just make them feel seen and heard? Which is one of the greatest gifts you can give somebody. Focus on that, not are they seeing me? Are they hearing me? Are they approving of me? Focus on how you're making them feel. No one is thinking about you as much as you think they're thinking about you. And the proof of this is when you are in public spaces, you're not thinking about other people that much either. And even if you do, it's fleeting and you forget about it. We are all the center of our own world. And I know I was told this in my early 20s, but I still had this deep anxiety when I was out in public about how I was being viewed. I almost saw myself through a third party outsider's view, stressed about how other people were seeing me. And nobody was seeing me at all. Nobody cared. In the best way possible, nobody cared. And that is definitely the energy I'm bringing into my 30s. Is that reminder when I start obsessing about any of my new friends, whether they like me or not, or what they think about me, I remind myself that they are much more worried about what I think of them than they are with developing a hypothesis about me. They're not thinking about me nearly as much. So if you catch yourself thinking that a certain person is thinking something about you, just let it go. Let that thought be a cloud and let it drift away. Say bye-bye. No. Let me focus on what I think about myself because no one else is thinking about me. These 10 lessons were hard won in my 20s and has helped set up my 30s to be, I think, my best decade yet. And maybe if you are either in your 20s or you still struggle with some of these things, maybe they will help you start a new, better chapter of your life.